Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Israel on February 25th and 26th to boost bilateral and strategic partnership between the two countries. Regional and global issues on the agenda of discussion. Indian and Canadian trade ministers hold talks to push for India-Canada Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Air ambulance crashes in India's Jharkhand. All 7 aboard the ill-fated flight killed. Government orders probe. Mexico sends thousands of additional soldiers to curb violence after the death of drug cartel leader El Mencho. Powerful winter storm paralyzes parts of the U.S. Northeast, forcing more than 8,000 flight disruptions. Roads and schools closed. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to Israel on Wednesday in a visit that underscores the deep and enduring friendship between the two nations. Ahead of his trip, Prime Minister Narendra Modi responded to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's message on social media, highlighting the trust, innovation and shared commitment to peace and progress that define India and Israel relations.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Israel on Wednesday, underscoring the deep and enduring friendship between the two nations. In a message responding to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on social media, Prime Minister Modi highlighted the trust, innovation and shared commitment to peace and progress that define India-Israel relations. He expressed appreciation for the warm sentiments from his counterpart and fully agreed on the strength and diverse nature of bilateral ties.
And
this week, we will see an expression of the special relations that have developed in recent years between Israel and the global power of India, and between myself and its leader, Prime Minister Modi. We are personal friends. We speak frequently on the phone. We visit each other.
India's partnership with Israel has grown steadily over the past decades, spanning defense cooperation, agricultural innovation, technology, and people-to-people exchanges. For India, Israel represents a trusted partner in both strategic and developmental spheres. For Israel, India is a vital ally in Asia, offering a vast market and a strong voice on the global stage.
The fabric of relations has continued to tighten, and he will be coming here so that we can tighten it even further through a series of decisions relating to deepening cooperation between the governments and between the states, economic cooperation, diplomatic cooperation, and security cooperation.
Prime Minister Modi noted that India deeply values this partnership built on mutual trust and innovation, and conveyed his anticipation for meaningful discussions during his forthcoming visit. India's foreign policy balances strategic interests with shared values of progress and peace. The visit is expected to reaffirm the enduring bond between the two democracies, while opening new avenues for cooperation in technology, security, and sustainable development. Bureau Report, DD India.
In a rare honor extended to Prime Minister Modi, he has been invited to address the Israeli parliament, also known as Knesset. During his visit, Prime Minister Modi will hold bilateral talks with his Israeli counterpart, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. India's ambassador to Israel, JP Singh, shares details on Prime Minister Modi's upcoming visit with DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh.
Narendra Modi is set to visit Israel. This would be his second official visit to the West Asian country after 2017. To talk about the significance of this visit, I have with me India's ambassador to Israel, Ambassador JP Singh. Ambassador, welcome to DD India. If you could first broadly take us through the itinerary and what's on agenda on Prime Minister's visit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is visiting Israel on February 25th and 26th. It's a 2-day visit. This is a very historic visit. He came to, first time he came to Israel was in 2017. And that time he laid down the foundation of our relationship. And now we have reached a stage where we need to take it forward and start a new phase of our strategic relationship. During his visit, he will be having detailed discussions on bilateral issues and regional and global issues with the Prime Minister, Mr. Netanyahu. He will also be meeting the President, Mr. Herzog, and he will be addressing the Knesset, which is their parliament, 25th of February.
Ambassador, if we talk about the areas of engagement, we understand that defense and security is like a cornerstone of this partnership. Late last year, an agreement was also signed on co-production of advanced technologies. What can we expect during Prime Minister's visit?
In this visit, as I mentioned, we have a strategic partnership. The best thing about India and Israel are that we don't compete with each other. Rather, we complement each other. And we complement in our core strengths. Israel's core strength is in science and technology, innovation, critical and emerging technologies, be it AI, be it cybersecurity, quantum. And similarly, our core strength is, huge kind of engineers, skilled manpower, and there's an ecosystem in India where we can scale it up in sense. So the idea during this visit will be how we can combine these two ecosystems so that both the countries can benefit out of it. So science and technology will be a core area of focus in this particular technology. The other core areas includes our cooperation in agriculture, water technology, workforce, defense and security cooperation, as you mentioned. And in defense, last year we signed a memorandum of understanding in defense cooperation. And there is already going on cooperation, defense. We have a Make in India program. Under the Make in India program, many Israeli companies are participating. And the idea is how, both countries can benefit from this cooperation.
And what can one expect in the domain of trade and connectivity? There is this IMEC corridor of which Israel happens to be a very important part. But what progress can we expect in this engagement?
I think this is one area where there will be discussion during this visit, how to improve trade and commerce. And when we say trade and commerce, last year our Commerce and Industry Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, also visited Israel. During that visit, we signed, he came along with a very big delegation, around 70-member business delegation, CO and, business forum meetings took place. During that visit, both the countries signed the terms of reference for free trade agreement. And you will be happy to know that as we speak today, the delegation from both the sides are meeting in Delhi to take forward negotiations on free trade agreement. And I think during this visit, both the Prime Minister are going to set a roadmap, a target, how to sign free trade agreement at the earliest possible.
Right. And finally, Ambassador, we understand India and Israel share civilizational links with one another. As far as taking forward people-to-people linkages in the 21st century is concerned, what steps could be taken?
India and Israel, people-to-people cultural relations are already very good. Unlike many other parts of the world, in India you won't find any anti-Semitism activity, which we are proud of. India believes in philosophy of coexistence, believe in philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and as Prime Minister says, that world is one family. World is one family. In that spirit, I think we are already doing a lot on improving our people-to-people and cultural relations. We have an Indian Cultural Center in Tel Aviv, under which we organize many film festivals. A number of cultural troops come here. The tourism from Israel to India is picking up. So we are moving in the right direction, and maybe many agreements will be signed during this visit, and you will see some agreements in this field also.
Ambassador Singh, on that note, thank you for speaking with DD India. That was India's ambassador to Israel, talking about the expectations from Prime Minister Modi's upcoming visit to Jerusalem. With camera person Anand Kumar, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India in Jerusalem.
With an aim to strengthen business ties between India and Canada, Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal virtually interacted with Canadian Minister of International Trade Maninder Sidhu and held a discussion related to India-Canada Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. The leaders also discussed strengthening business ties on both sides through regular delegation-level engagements. In a post on X, Union Minister Piyush Goyal wrote, and I quote him, had a virtual interaction with Maninder Sidhu, Minister of International Trade, Canada, on advancing discussions relating to India-Canada Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. We also deliberated on strengthening business ties on both sides through regular delegation-level engagements over the coming months to build sustained momentum in our economic partnership. Chhattisgarh's Bastar, also known for Naxal violence, is now redefining itself through art, culture and creativity. Where gunfire once echoed, the rhythmic sound of chisels and hammers now shapes a new chapter of hope and resilience. DD India's Somesh Patel reports from Bastar.
For nearly 4 decades, Bastar remained trapped in the flames of conflict. The shadow of left-wing extremism limited its identity to violence and unrest. But the true identity of Bastar lies deep within its soil, a land where almost every household nurtures an artist and every village is a home to a craftsman. In the dense forests of Bastar, timber like teak, sal and bija is not merely wood. In the hands of skilled artisans, it transforms into living expressions of culture. For generations, tribal craftsmen have been carving deities, tribal life, wildlife and folklore into wood, preserving their heritage through art. The biggest strength of Bastar's wooden art is its natural simplicity. Chemical colors are rarely used in this art. The natural grain, texture and fragrance of the wood define its authenticity. Idols of tribal deities, traditional masks, decorative wall panels, intricately carved wildlife figures. Each creation reflects the vibrant cultural heritage of Bastar in its purest form. Several artisans from Bastar have taken this traditional craft to national platforms. Craftsmen Ramnath Kashyap and Dashrath Kashyap say there was a time when people were afraid of the name Bastar. But today, the same people admire Bastar's art. Bastar is gradually transforming. Their wooden artworks are now being sent to cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Jaipur and Bengaluru.
यहाँ की मूर्तियाँ दिल्ली, बॉम्बे, बेंगलुरु, विदेश भी जाता है। कला को जीवित रखने का काम सिखाने का प्रयास करते हैं सर।
Bastar's wooden art is not just carving on wood. It is the story of transformation taking shape on this land. Where once the sound of guns echoed, today the rhythm of chisel and hammer resonates. This change is not merely about identity. It symbolizes dignity, self-reliance and cultural resurgence. Somesh Patel's report for DD India.
In a tragic incident in the Indian state of Jharkhand, all 7 people on board an air ambulance headed for Delhi from Ranchi have been confirmed dead hours after the aircraft crashed in Chhatra district on Monday night. The Beechcraft C-90 aircraft, registered as VT-AJV and operated by Red Bird Airways Private Limited, was flying a medical evacuation mission from Ranchi to Delhi when it went down in Jharkhand's Chhatra district shortly after takeoff. According to the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, the aircraft lost communication and radar contact with Kolkata at 7:34 p.m., approximately 100 nautical miles southeast of Varanasi. A team from the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau was dispatched following the incident to investigate the cause of the crash. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, remaining vigilant and cautious, Iran rejects speculation about a potential interim agreement with the United States. West Indies begin their Super 8 campaign with massive win over Zimbabwe at the T20 World Cup in Mumbai.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India Live. Mexican authorities on Monday deployed an additional 2,000 military troops to the western state of Jalisco following violence in the wake of the death of Mexico's most wanted cartel leader, Nemesio Oseguera, known as El Mencho. Mexico has deployed 10,000 troops since Sunday to quell clashes sparked by the killing of drug lord that have claimed dozens of lives. Oseguera had a $15 million US bounty on his head. News of his death triggered spasm of violence, with cartel members blocking roads in 20 states and torching vehicles and businesses. At least 25 National Guard members were killed in subsequent clashes. In Jalisco's state capital, Guadalajara, schools remained closed and most public transportation was suspended. While US President Donald Trump had yet to respond publicly on Oseguera's death, he posted briefly on his Truth Social platform, I quote, "Mexico must step up their effort on cartels and drugs." In response to the violence and clashes in Mexico, United States, Canada and India have issued stay-in-shelter warning for their citizens in Mexico. In the US and Canada, several airlines have also cancelled their flights to Mexico, especially to Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta. The European Parliament has postponed a vote on the European Union's trade deal with the United States due to US President Donald Trump's imposition of a blanket 15% import duty after the Supreme Court struck down his previous global tariffs. Parliament's Trade Committee had been due to vote on Tuesday, but that vote has now been postponed in what is the second such suspension by EU lawmakers. They previously halted their work on the deal in protest at Trump's demands to acquire Greenland and threats of extra tariffs on European allies who opposed his plan.
The clear majority of the shadows decided to change the agenda and postpone the vote on the two legislative files. So I would propose to delete these two votes tomorrow morning. But this means not that we never vote on that. No, we want to have clarity about the situation. We want to have clarity from the United States that they are respecting the deal, because that's a crucial element, that we want to have stability.
While US President warned countries against backing away from recently negotiated trade deals with the US after the Supreme Court struck down his emergency tariffs. In a series of social media posts, Trump said that he would hit them with much higher duties under different trade laws, and he also may impose license fee on trading partners. US President Donald Trump continues to walk a line between diplomatic and military solutions for Iran, reiterating on Monday evening that he preferred to strike a deal to curtail its nuclear program. At the same time, he warned that if that does not happen, it will be a very bad day for the country. Meanwhile, Iran has firmly dismissed speculation about a potential interim agreement with the United States, stating that such claims have no basis. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismaili Baghaei addressed numerous rumors regarding the format and substance of the ongoing negotiations between Tehran and Washington at a press conference on Monday. He underlined that none of the details circulated are confirmed by Iran, especially those regarding an interim agreement, which he says has no basis.
Our position on ending the cruel US sanctions and the nuclear issue is clear, and we are well aware of the US side's viewpoints. If both sides demonstrate goodwill during negotiations, we can hope for a result. We are now in the stage of stating our positions. We hope that we will be able to hold another round of talks within the next 2 to 3 days.
Israel has decided not to rejoin the UN Human Rights Council 1 year after it quit the body, citing an absence of neutrality. Israel has long criticized the Geneva-based body and has disengaged from it in the past. In September 2025, after Israel had left the council, it had strongly rejected findings of a UN Commission of Inquiry that Israel has committed genocide in Gaza. Israel's ambassador to the United States in Geneva said that the Human Rights Council demonstrates its incompetence in the face of protests in Iran and questioned why an Iranian government representative was allowed to speak before the council.
The inherent bias and hypocrisy of the Human Rights Council has been further illuminated with these last 2 months as it demonstrates its incompetence in the face of the slaughter of Iranians by the Islamic regime. The human rights bodies have betrayed the people of Iran.
Tuesday marks 4 years since the beginning of the Russian-Ukraine conflict. On February 24, 2022, Russian President Vladimir Putin launched military operation against Ukraine. Now, Russia occupies 20% or roughly a fifth of Ukraine's territory. Official casualty figures for the conflict remain highly uncertain and variable. Counts from both the sides differ and independent estimates vary widely. Both sides deployed vast number of artillery, armoured vehicles and aircraft, with Ukraine increasingly relying on drone warfare for reconnaissance and strikes. Russia, meanwhile, fields thousands of tanks, artillery systems and combat drones in its ongoing military operations. The conflict has also triggered one of the largest displacement crises in Europe since World War II, forcing millions from their homes. All in all, more than 10.8 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance. Talking about peace, there have been numerous attempts at peace talks. In 2022, there were at least 5 rounds of talks, including 3 in Belarus and 2 in Turkey, before the negotiations broke down in April of that year. Then came the latest round of negotiations following President Trump's 2024 election victory, in which he promised to press the sides to come up with a deal to end the conflict. Their most recent talks in Geneva on February 17th and 18th did not produce a breakthrough. Another round of talks could be held at the end of this week. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico has requested the country's power grid operator to stop emergency electricity supplies to Ukraine if oil flows via the Druzhba pipeline do not resume. Shipments of Russian oil to Slovakia and Hungary have been cut off since January 27th, when Ukraine says a Russian drone strike hit pipeline equipment in western Ukraine. Slovakia and Hungary, both NATO members who have the EU's only 2 refineries that still rely on oil via Druzhba, say that Ukraine is to blame for the prolonged outrage in one of the angriest disputes yet between Ukraine and its 2 neighbors. Fico also said that the measure would be cancelled after the resumption of oil transit to Slovakia.
From today, if the Ukrainian side turns to Slovakia with a request for assistance in stabilizing Ukrainian energy network, it will not receive such assistance. As I stated, this is the first reciprocal step that the Slovak government is authorized to take without violating any international rules and obligations. If the Ukrainian side continues to harm Slovakia's interest in the supply of strategic raw materials, the Slovak government will also review its previous constructive position on Ukraine's membership in European Union and prepare further measures.
US Airlines are adding flights on Tuesday as they work to recover from widespread disruptions caused by a powerful winter storm in the northeast that triggered more than 8,000 cancellations and delays. The storm dumped heavy snow across parts of the US northeast, forcing road closures and school cancellations, while airlines continue scrambling to accommodate stranded passengers and reposition aircraft and crew. Thousands of homes and businesses were left without power, and officials, including New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, urged residents to stay off the roads so emergency crew could clear snow and debris from the streets. Let's get to updates from the world of sports now. West Indies blew away Zimbabwe by a colossal 107 runs at the T20 World Cup in Mumbai as Shai Hope's team opened their Super 8s campaign with a dominant victory. Shimron Hetmare blasted 85 runs for 34 balls as the West Indies team piled up 254 runs for the loss of 6 wickets, the second highest total in the history of the tournament. Zimbabwe got off to an awful start as they lost 3 wickets for just 20 runs in the 3rd over and were all out for 147 runs in 17.4 overs, with Brad Evans hitting some lusty late blows before being last man out for 43 runs. Left-armer spinner Gudakesh Mote was the pick of the West Indies bowlers with 4 wickets, while Akhil Hussain took 3 scalps. Sri Lanka, who made 260 runs for the loss of 6 wickets against Kenya in 2007, have scored more runs in a T20 World Cup match. Veteran Indian shuttler Kidambi Srikanth and Junior Championship silver medalist Tanvi Sharma will spearhead India's challenge at the German Open Super 300 tournament beginning today. Srikanth had slipped to 82 in the rankings but had since climbed back to world number 32 and is working to further improve his position to secure direct entry into the higher tier Super 750 and Super 1000 events. 16-year-old Tanvi will lead the charge in the women's singles event along with Malvika Bansod, who will be playing her 6th tournament of the year after returning from a knee injury. Other marquee Indian players at the event will be world number 45, Isharani Barua and Kiran George and Akarshi Kashyap. Hundreds of revelers participated in a flower war, dousing each other with tons of coloured flour in the coastal town of Galaxidi in Greece as part of the annual Flower War Carnival tradition. Take a look. With that, we end this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.